Northern Kentucky Magazine, TKR Cable, August 26, 1996, promoting Cincinnati Public Library show.
I am now joined by Dr. X, who appears, Dr. Y is coming on next week, and Dr. Z will follow. No, I'm only being silly. But you're not, you're serious about this X-rays being art.
Yes, I am. It's something that I started a few years ago, and most people look upon X-rays as something that they go to the doctor for a diagnosis, or you go through the airport to see if there's bombs in your luggage or something like that. But I look upon them as works of art.
How about a dentist's office? They only see holes in your teeth.
Now, I've talked to my dentist about that, and he's trying to see if he can find some X-rays that he thought might be interesting for me to use in my X-ray art also.
Now, most X-rays traditionally are black and white or gray and white. What makes you, do you have to colorize them?
Well, I have colorized them because I think that makes them much more interesting. What I do is I put color gels behind them so that they might be red or green or yellow or blue or purple or something like that, because it makes it much more interesting. It brings out the object that you're looking at a lot better.
Why don't you drop your mask there and expose the world to, there we go. And Tom Newbold is Dr. X's real name. What do you do full time? Is that it? Art? Or?
No, I'm assistant professor at the University of Cincinnati. I'm with the Division of Professional Practice. I work with the civil engineering students and the nuclear engineering students and get them co-op positions. So it has nothing to do with X-rays or medicine or anything like that.
Did you get any of them jobs at Fernald when it was running? I mean,
I have co-op students at Fernald, as a matter of fact, right now as we speak.
Do you X-ray them?
No, we don't X-ray them, but it's a civil and environmental engineering program, and the environmental engineers, it's a great opportunity for them because it's one of the few Superfund sites where they can get experience working with hazardous waste and those types of materials.
Was your department, if not involved, interested in the cleanup of the old Newport landfill? That was about 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. That was another one of the Superfund locations.
That's true. Anything that has to do with the environment and taking care of it, my students are interested in, and I place them in jobs with them.
Mm-hmm. Now, when did you first look at an X-ray and see art, rather than just a utilitarian tool used by a physician to tell you what your innards look like?
All right. About 2 years ago, I was sitting in my doctor's office, and I was looking through some magazines. We're there, you know how they make you wait before you go in. And one of the magazines was for X-ray equipment. And on the X-ray equipment were several X-rays, and I looked at them and I thought, wow, you know, this is so abstract as I look at it, because I'm not a professional, that I could see like, oh, this looks like a butterfly, or this looks like something else. And I thought, I wonder if anybody's ever used X-rays to make art. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do that. So I went home and I told my wife, Marcy, I'm going to do X-ray art. And she said, well, what is that? And so I'm going to use X-rays to make artwork. And she said, well, where will you get the X-rays? And I thought, gee, I don't know where I'll get the X-rays, but I thought, well, I'll contact some hospitals. So I contacted some of the hospitals around the area, and some of them agreed to give me some of their used X-rays. And then they put me in contact with a place that all the X-rays really are recycled because of the silver in the X-rays. And I went down to this location, and they had hundreds of 55-gallon barrels full of X-rays that they were going to recycle. And they said, you know, just have some fun with it. Go through, pick out whatever you want. And Marcy said, well, I don't know what I'm looking for. And I said, well, whatever looks interesting. You just grab stuff that looks interesting, and I'll grab stuff that looks interesting.
Well, what part of the anatomy fascinates you the most? The skull, the trunk, the spine, the bones of the legs, the hips?
All different parts. In fact, a lot of times I like the X-rays in which maybe it wasn't exactly a perfect X-ray and something went wrong with the X-ray, or as a layman you wouldn't have any idea. You'd know maybe that's an arm, maybe it's a leg, maybe it's a kneecap, maybe it's an ankle. I don't really have any idea what it is. So I like sometimes the abstract ones where it's hard to tell. Of course, the ones of the skull, I think sometimes you get the most human emotion connected when a person looks at a skull. They can sometimes get a feeling of a person's in pain or happy or something like that.
Wow. Could we see one? Let's pull one up here before we get into this first timeout. You call this the Alligator Man?
Alligator Man, that's true. Now this is a composite of about 4 X-rays superimposed on top of each other. I started off with an X-ray from the 1940s in which the solution on the X-ray hadn't properly been formed, and it cracked and crackled, and that's that crackling appearance.
It's like
that
a spackling effect.
Yeah, crackle. Then I put on top of that an X-ray of a person's torso, their chest, which you can see the chest part there. And then on top of that, I put another one with these dots, which you can see sort of like where the stomach area might be there. I put that one on top of that.
Right.
And then behind all that, I put a yellow and a red, a slight pinkish, really, gel behind that, which makes the orangish-yellow appearance to the whole thing. So
your works of art are actually photos of the treated X-ray.
Well, they're the actual. Well, yes, that's true. I have a photo taken of the X-ray when it's on a light box, and then I have it blown up or changed to a different size, a color photo of it. There's Alligator Man right now. You can see, and this will show you the size of the X-rays that I'm going to show at the show that I'm going to have that's going to be at the Cincinnati Public Library. There you go. They're 16 by 20 inches. And I've put them in lucite frames, and then I've put mats around them to give them their present size. And another thing I would like to point out is all the people's names, if they are on any of these X-rays, I've either cut them out or masked them over with black ink so that nobody's privacy would be invaded by me using the X-rays.
Okay, so you only do humans?
No, that's not true. I use animals.
Say, you know, an alligator, you'd find some interesting things if you got into an alligator. There.
All right. Oh, no, I do use animals too. I have lots of.
Wait a minute. We got to take.
Let's see that.
We got to take a time out. But this is like that old thing used to be out Old Coney. You know, would come up and. We'll be right back on your Kentucky Connection, TKR 6 after this timeout. Spending more time with Tom Newbold, pardon me, who goes under the nom de plume of Dr. X. Well, that's a pen name.
That's true.
Yeah. So what would the title of Dr. X be? Just artist extraordinaire?
X-ray artisan. That's what I use. Dr. X, X-ray artisan.
Now I got a thought. I'm here to help.
All right.
I'm here to help. Now I know your wife Marcy or your friend Marcy is just absolute.
My wife.
Top marketing PR person in the world. But I have a couple of ideas sometimes too.
All right. Let's hear it.
What a cool thing this would be to make cards. You could send Grandma. When you're in 3rd grade, have the family doctor, or, take an X-ray, hand it over to you, gussy it up, and send it off to their relatives that year.
That would be great.
This is my own patella. You
allowed to say that on the air?
Sure.
Okay.
Or the tibia ulnar.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah. And what do you think of that idea?
I like that. That's a great idea. And then as people grew up, they could see how their X-rays got larger and larger.
And you could do it sequentially.
Oh.
Just the hand and...
Oh, yeah, work all the way up the body.
Yeah, and send Grandma,
sounds like a great idea.
A monthly part of your body, so to speak. Now, if this winds up on in bookstores, you're going to hear from me.
You get royalty on this.
Well, we just mentioned it on the air, so.
All right.
All right. You're going to be at the public library, or your works will.
That's true.
How long?
It starts on September 3rd, and it runs through September 27th, so it's going to be the whole month of September. It's on the 2nd floor, and as you go in the library, they have the big atrium in the center there, and as you look up on whichever way, it's on a big green wall, and it will be exhibited up there, so you can see it from the 1st floor or the 3rd floor or whatever. Everybody will be able to see it, but it's on the 2nd floor if you want to come up and take a closer look at it, and it'll be the whole month of September.
Will you visit from time to time, be available to talk about your work, or doesn't your schedule permit that?
Well, I really have a busy schedule, so I'm not sure that I'll be able to do that, but I probably will go. One thing I like to do when I have art exhibits is just to go anonymously and sort of stand around and listen to what the people say. As a matter of fact, when I had a show at Caldy's in May, and I just stood around and listened to people, and I have one X-ray which I call the pedentary podiatrist, which is an MRI of the ankle, and in an abstract way, it could look like fetuses, I guess, because a person said, gee, you know, this is about abortion. I can tell your whole show's about abortion. And he says, I can tell you're sort of against it, aren't you? And I said, well, how would you come up with that? And he goes, well, look at these fetuses here. I can see that. I said, that is an x-ray of an ankle, and that's the Achilles heel part of it. Oh, so, well, you know, people read whatever they want to, especially when something's abstract like that. So it's interesting to hear people's comments on it.
We don't have them all, but there are 18, I understand.
There's 18 of them, that's
that will
true.
be on exhibit at the Public Library,
That's
Hamilton County,
right.
Cincinnati Public Library.
8th and Vine.
We saw the Alligator Man. Let's pull another one up here, if we can, our director. And which piece is this?
This is what I call a fiesta of whining agitprop. And this one has dog x-rays. Now, you mentioned before if I just use humans. Well, there's dogs x-rays and this human x-rays, and the center part of it there is actually an x-ray of a computer, the inside of a computer. So I combine human, animal, and
What does that stand for?
Well, that's that title actually is from a review that an art critic gave at an art show, and I read it out of a journal, and I just copied it down and used that as the title. It's kind of like propaganda.
All right. Let's try another. I hope we have Third Stone from the Sun, but if not, this is scintillating seashells.
This is scintillating seashells. Not only do I use x-rays that other people have done, but I have a friend who's an x-ray technician, and we set seashells down, x-rayed those, and then I put different colored gels behind them. As you can see, it shows you the inside of what the inside of a seashell would look like, and it brings out with vibrant colors, you know, what they look like.
Why do we need to know what the inside of a seashell looks like?
Because it's nice to see the hidden world that lies below the surface. Some
I
people
thought they were only good for holding up to your ear and hearing
well,
the
then you
ocean.
can hear the ocean, of course, when you do that.
Okay.
All right, now that is Third Stone from the Sun, right
Did you
there.
steal that title from that country song a couple of years ago?
No.
Third Rock from the Sun?
Well, actually, there's a TV show called Third Rock from the Sun also. I actually stole this title from a Jimi Hendrix record from 1968, which he had a title which was Third Stone from the Sun.
I didn't mean to say steal. I mean
borrowed. That would be the correct term. Borrowed. And what this is once again one of those x-rays where it was all crinkled and cracked. There was a big black x-ray that didn't turn out, so I cut a hole in it to put the other one in, and then I put yellow and blue behind it, and that makes the green color on the one part and the yellow color on the other one. So,
do you work at home?
Yes, I do.
I have a studio at home?
I have a studio in my basement at home.
Do you have an x-ray machine in your home?
No, I don't. You have to be licensed to use x-ray machines, and I'm not licensed, so I use trained technicians to do the x-rays for me.
Where might these works be available? We're coming into a break here. How can you get it? We've been giving a phone number, haven't we? Or have we? Okay. And just call that number?
Yes, call the number, and I'd be glad to be in contact with people.
All right, I think we have some more. We'll do it after this time. Dog Eat Dog, Skullduggery on the Beach, and Anxiety of Influences.
Oh, yes.
Get back with Dr. X after we pause on Northern Kentucky Magazine on your Northern Kentucky Connection, TKR 6.